Shalom Akim, Kahalayim Raya Bashim Yasha Bashim Kudash, and double honors to Williams and Apostles, Thadi health, Thadi Yasha for strength for this to make this video as well. And Yahara Tazar, which means Yahweh willing, that you also edified and you're built up with it as well, man. Which edify means to build up. Of course, exhort means to encourage as well. So, Kahalayim La, as a brief introduction there, is the ancient Hebrew meaning all praises to. Halalim means praise in the plural. Halal means singular. Halal means praise in singular form. And when we say Kal Halalim La, we're saying all praises to. When we say Yahweh, we're referring to the Most High's name in his ancient Hebrew, his real ancient Hebrew name, which is Yahweh, meaning he exists, and the world ignorantly calls him God. But his real name is Yahweh, meaning he is, he exists, or he is to be. And Yahushua is the only begotten Son, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Yahushua means he delivers. And when we say Bahashem, it means in the name of, which means in the name, which is basically saying Yahweh through Yahushua, because we get to Yahweh through Yahushua at the end of the day. And of course, we get to Yahushua through the Holy Spirit too. That's why we say Bahashem Rachal Kodash, which means in the name, Spirit Holy. That's the literal meaning. But it actually means through the Holy Spirit, or in the name of the Holy Spirit. That's what Bahashem Rachal Kodash means. So that's just a brief introduction there. This is the part 2 that I said I was going to do based on the other video on, yes, the so-called Christmas spirit is dead. That's what I named the video, the Christmas spirit is dead. And this is the part 2. I wanted to, because I watched a little bit of, actually I watched the whole thing, but I only watched play like a little bit, probably maybe 8 to 10 minutes. Yeah, after I'll get a few presets, but the main point was done in the first video, but this is really like a level deeper, I would say. So play it and Yaratazar get some precepts, and let's get this going, innit?
You may have wondered where our Christmas traditions come from. What does a pine tree have to do with the birth of Jesus? Where does Santa Claus come into the picture? Is he an old pagan deity that has been Christianized? And who was the first person to try and kiss someone under a mistletoe? Because of the peculiar nature of many Christmas traditions, a lot of people assume that they have a pagan origin. That Christians repurpose ancient pagan rituals to try and convert pagans to Christianity. On the surface, this doesn't...
Yeah, we established that in the other video with the Roman tradition called Saturnalia. That was where Christians tried to use, what did they call it again? They tried to integrate obviously their religion with so-called Saturnalia, which is a pagan tradition, and then called it Christmas ultimately. That's what they tried to do. So yeah, and anyways, once again, it's never shown in the Bible to celebrate birthdays, man. Not your own, nor your Hawashi's, man. You're not supposed to be celebrating birthdays, that's the thing. All you do is just acknowledge your age, and then that's it, man. It's a normal day. Simple as that.
Doesn't sound implausible, but when we dive into the historical data, we will see there is little to no paganism in Christmas. These are the top 10 origin stories of Christmas traditions.
Which of course this guy, he's going off of his own reasoning and research and whatnot. But yeah, as we mentioned in the other video on the definition of pagan, anything that goes contrary to the main religions, that was the definition. But what it really should say is anything that goes contrary onto the traditions and commandments of Israelites, man. Because really, that should be the main way of life. What we follow, us following Yahweh Shem Shai, is the main way of life, or really what these heathens are supposed to follow. It shall be your wisdom in front of the nations. Let me even get that one quickly. I don't think I got that in the previous video. Should be in Deuteronomy 4, about verse 6. But the commandments being our wisdom and our understanding. Yeah, right there. So it says here, I'll read from verse 5. Deuteronomy 4 and verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord Yahweh my power commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. So we're supposed to listen to what Yahweh Shemashah has instituted for us, to listen to the laws that have been instituted for us to listen to. law, statutes, and commandments. It says, keep therefore and do them. So this is verse 6, Deuteronomy 4 and verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. Because yes, giving off Yahweh Shem Yahshai, the one who created all, we're talking about all of creation, man. That ain't a light, that's not a light phrase to have, We're talking about Yahweh who all the credit goes to him for creating all of creation, man. You have Yahweh, the only begotten Son, of whom was made the ultimate sacrifice unto Israel, man, in order to even have the mercy of Yahweh back on Israel after their disobedience. So yeah, man, those are the two most powerful beings of all creation. That's the thing. So keep therefore and do that. The point is that the law, statutes, and commands we've been given is to make us wiser and more understanding than these heathen nations, man, in order to lead and guide them. That's the point. That's why, again, we've got to fear Yahweh Shem Yahshai, man. The two most powerful beings in existence right now, man. Yahweh meaning he is, he exists, he is to be, and Yahushua meaning he delivers. And he's delivering Israel, man, starting from the elect, of course. Now let's continue on.
These are the top 10 origin stories of Christmas traditions. Number 10. Krampus. Krampus used to be a minor Christmas character, celebrated in parts of Europe, sometimes with events known as Krampus runs. But in the past few decades, he has become more popular around the world, especially after a movie was made featuring the character, which drastically changes the way he's traditionally depicted. Krampus looks nothing like Santa Claus, and instead resembles a furry, devilish, goat-like creature. In fact, the word Krampus is derived from the Middle German word for claw. Often it has been assumed Krampus was some type of pagan deity, and that he was later incorporated into Christmas traditions, with theories suggesting Krampus was the son of Norse deities Loki or Hel. But there's no medieval or ancient sources which support such a connection.
After going to menopause,
obviously this is an advert. But yeah, Krampus, all that is just fables of the heathens at the end of the day. Fables of the heathens, man. It should just bring confusion if another person, eats of those trees. I'm referring to the breakdown of Genesis 3 right there, man. Because, each philosophy can be likened onto a tree, or rather, the nations can be likened onto trees, and the fruits of those trees are likened onto the philosophies which come off of those trees. Again, trees represent nations, and then fruits represent the philosophies. That's reference to Genesis 3 breakdown right there. But just a minor bit. Yaratazar, I need to go and actually do the full thing eventually too.
Support such a connection. The Krampus tradition doesn't even...
Because the thing is, the other nations, Edomites, heathens, Moabites, they have their own backstories and fables in order to have their people to believe in. But we're not supposed to eat of the fruits of the other trees, man. That's the thing. So that's what that's referring to. Let me see if I can get something quickly on that as well. Just a very brief point, man. Very, very, very brief point. Hold on. Right. So let me just read from verse 1. So Genesis 3 and verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord Yahweh, Yahweh Most High, Yahweh Power had made. He said unto the woman, Yea, hath the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. Now that question right there, the tree of every garden, is referring to the nations. And of course, what they eat of it is the fruit. And that fruit represents the philosophies. That's what I was trying to refer to here. Now it says, and the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. So when it says we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, see it as we may consume the philosophies, the teachings of the other nations in the garden. Just see it that way. Now, but of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest ye die. The reason why is because the philosophies of the other nations will corrupt a person. You know, you start to dibble and dabble into their ways, and then you start to get too deep into it. And of course, that will then corrupt the actual original way of teaching that you've been ingrained in, which is obviously of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. That's the thing. So that's just a brief point on the trees. I'm saying this is what those philosophies, those fruits of the other nations, you know, which are represented as teachings, fruits represented as teachings, and trees as other nations. This is part of it as well. These Christmas fables and teachings, man. You know, these Edomites as well and their customs.
Ancient sources which support such a connection. The Krampus tradition doesn't even originate from the region of Scandinavia, but from the region of Austria and Bavaria, where there are various Krampuses. The distinct Christmas version didn't appear until the 19th century. He was printed on postcards in the 1880s, and the imagery likely derived from Catholic.
That's a demon right there, man. That's a demon right there. So, of course, you already know just from the depiction of this art that these Edomites are into demons, man. Straight up into demons and worshipping them as well. This is why they say, you shall not, this is why the Most High said, you shall not eat of any tree of the garden, but only of a certain tree which he's allowed us to eat of, which is really, you can liken it onto the doctrines, the commandments and statutes that, you know, Moses gave upon Israel initially, man. You know, as we read in Deuteronomy 4 and verse 6. That's part of the tree, the fruit that we're supposed to eat, not the fruit of the other nations, man. Part of the reason why we're in this position is because of the fact that we ate of the fruit of the other nations. You know, that's why you got Jake into Islam. You got Jake into flipping, what do they call it, man? Christianity, you know, Breatharian. I was going to say Breatharian. You know, when you try and survive just on breathing, is that breatharianism or something like that? You know, there's guys who are into that, you know, Jake into that, where you just survive off of just breathing for days. My gosh, man, Jake is into something. You know, there's Hinduism, Buddhism, you know, other arts as well, which philosophies people are quite dedicated to as well. But of course, all of these stray away from the way of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, which is the way of life. Now, let's continue though. Strong flipping demon. But yeah, man, these are the things to sway away from, man.
Like depictions of the devil. Krampuses were one version of the many dark companions of Santa Claus. While Saint Nick would bring gifts to the good children, Krampus, or another dark companion, would come and punish the bad children. These were called child terror figures, from which Krampus became the most popular. Prior to this, in Germanic regions, there were various Nicholas plays, where Nicholas would dialogue with the devil and eventually defeat him. The devil would be dressed in features we associate with the modern version of Krampus, and often during the sermon, there would be an interlude where several Krampus-looking figures would run through the crowds. So most modern traditions associated with Krampus can be traced back to European folk traditions, or plays featuring the devil and St. Nicholas, not pagan tales. Number 9. Yule logs. Yule logs are traditionally burned around Christmas, and people will gather around them to tell ghost stories or celebrate the season. Yule logs sound pagan, and many assume they trace back to the ancient pagan holiday of Yule. But there is little to no evidence to support this. The word Yule doesn't necessarily refer to a pagan holiday. It's a very general word that has multiple meanings. Yule has even been a last name. Jacqueline Simpson and Stephen Rode point out, the word in various spellings means a loosely defined midwinter period, not a single day. In the early languages of most...
Even this one's referring to a midwinter period, which we mentioned in Saturnalia. Originally, that fell within the winter solstice, which is really like a season or a week period. A period of a week, 7 days, roughly, of course, where, so-called Saturnalia fell into, man, as we brought out in the article, in the previous video. So that's what the Romans did. So even that Roman tradition, it had its echoes in the future of I want to say future countries, really, because as it says here, the word Yule, which I think is rooted from. Let me read it. Let me listen to it again.
Support this. The word Yule doesn't necessarily refer to a pagan holiday. It's a very general word that has multiple meanings. Yule has even been a last name. Jacqueline Simpson and Stephen Rode point out, the word in various spellings means a loosely defined midwinter period, not a single day, in the early languages of most Germanic and Scandinavian countries.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get at. So obviously the Roman winter solstice period, or midwinter period, which is another way of calling the winter solstice, midwinter, something like that, also echoed in Germanic and Scandinavian countries as well, man. So these traditions of Rome, they echoed amongst the Edomites there as well, which the Germans also are seen as Teemen, of course. And of course Timna are one of the sons of Esau, one of the descendants of Esau, rather. So let's continue.
The first mention of a log burned around Christmas comes from Robert Herrick's poetry collection of 1648, where it is called a Christmas log. It is not referred to as a Yule log until John Aubrey's work from 1686. Prior to that century, we have no evidence of Yule logs, let alone evidence that it can trace back to the holiday of Yule. Simpson and Rhodes say, the antiquity of the word Yule cannot prove the custom's age. There's also no evidence Christmas is a Christianized version of Yule, as none of the modern Christmas traditions can be traced back to Yule, and we're not even sure when Yule was celebrated. Pliny the Elder noted that Gaelic tribes calculated their months according to the moon, and St. Bede, although giving us some mixed information at times, also says they calculated their months. Number 7.
Be a booking hero and get free.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip into a certain point in the Aratazar. You can just get to the point, or extract a point rather, from the video. I don't want to make this too long.
Number 7. Nativity scenes. Nativity scenes are a popular Christian tradition that is set up at Christmas to remember the birth of Jesus. Some have suggested they were Christian attempts to mimic pagan idols in pagan sacred spaces, but there's no evidence to support a connection. The first
Saturnalia was evidence, man. We did in the previous video, in the article. Saturnalia was the evidence. Christians trying to integrate pagan holidays, which is Saturnalia, into the so-called birth of Jesus Christ, man. Which, of course, first of all, the name's wrong. Second of all, nowhere in the scriptures does it say we've got to celebrate the birthday of Yahushua anyways.
nativity scene was set up by St. Francis of Assisi in 1223 AD. He didn't create it as a Christmas tradition, but his followers promoted the custom and it became associated with Christmas shortly after. It has nothing to do with idol worship. It is merely a holiday decoration to remember what Christmas is really about.
Technically, this is also like what would you even say this is like? One, two, probably about 2 or 3 layers of idolatry. Because first of all, you got the origin in Saturnalia, that's a Roman celebration of Christmas. You got the Christians integrating it with Jesus Christ, which that in itself is a flipping idol. That's layer 2. So that's them. And then you got 3, which is now assigning December 25th as the so-called birth of Jesus Christ. That's also another false teaching as well, man. So that's like 3 layers of deception, man. Let's talk about no idolatry. Yes, there is idolatry there. You got a false power you're worshipping, and then it's also rooted in pagan origins, which is obviously, again, the Roman tradition of Saturnalia. So, pretty much just eating the meat and spitting the bones of this one, in this video.
6. Gift giving. The giving of gifts has become central to Christmas today, but such a custom was not always associated with Christmas. It can be traced back to around the 1840s. Number 4. Santa Claus. Santa Claus has often been accused of being a Christianized pagan deity. Allegedly, someone took old tales of Odin, or Joulupukki, and transferred them onto the Christian St. Nicholas to create the modern Santa Claus. But there are no primary sources to support this. The name Santa Claus comes from Sinterklaas, which is the Dutch name of St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas is the patron saint of children and was a popular saint even among Protestants after the Reformation, especially among the Dutch. The feast day of St. Nicholas was originally on December 6. It became a popular holiday in Europe by the 16th and 17th centuries. After the American Revolution, Dutch immigrants in New York began to promote many of their traditions, including the veneration of St. Nicholas. At the time in New York, Christmas had devolved into a drunken celebration, and many like Thomas Nast and Clement Moore began to promote the idea Christmas should be a family-centered holiday. St. Nicholas's gift-giving traditions were moved to Christmas, and he was rebranded from a Catholic priest to look like a traditional Dutchman from that time period.
So Esau Edom, man, he's been manipulating that story from time ago. So really, again, the reason why it's just lies upon lies at the end of the day, just to deceive people and get them in this merry mood, joyful mood, which is all for nothing at the end of the day. And really, if you just observe your surrounding and the neighbors and whatnot, well, I can speak for myself in UK, London here. People are not in that Christmas spirit no more, man. Compare 2024 to like early 2000s and basically prior to what do they call it? But yeah, early 2000s, mid 2000s. I'm talking about like early 2000s and 2010 or whatnot. That type of season, people were still merry and doing their thing because of course they can afford things. But right now, it's more of a case of, can we afford the bills this year? That's what they're caring about. They have other cares, not flipping buying presents anymore, man. So yeah, people are getting cornered financially to the point where they don't care about Christmas no more. And the general spirit around it is just dead anyways. All right, so let me see if I can get a precept and I'm gonna close it out as well. Because really the main point was made in that article there. This is just like get a little bit of detail into it too. So yeah, this is as it's titled here, The Rise of False Prophets. Let's read from verse 1 and then stop at verse 2. This is 2 Peter 2 and 1. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily, which means privately, shall bring in damnable heresies, false teachings, even denying the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahshua that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. Which yes, Yahweh Hashem Yahshua were the ones. It was ultimately the Most High's will, Yahweh, who of course created these false prophets to play their role. Now it says in 2 Peter 2 and 2, and we know that the major false prophet is really the Roman Catholic Church as well. But the ones among the people, we've got the ones, these other camps that are teaching 100% truth, man. But the reason why I brought it out is really to call out the Roman Catholic Church, man, because of the fact that they ain't teaching, in the truth of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Now, 2 Peter 2 and 2, and they're the ones also promoting this Christmas too, man. They're down with it. Now, so again, it's a long history, man. Just by observing, researching history, we knew, we already know now that, of course, the Catholic Church or Christianity in general, I'll say that the church, the Catholic Church, they try to integrate Saturnalia in order to convince the pagans to come and celebrate or really join the religion of Christianity, man. So it was used as really a tactic to get people to come in, man. Things in the truth, of the scriptures, is pretty much predestined whether Yahweh Hashem Yahshua decides for him, makes the decision for you to have your eyes open to what's real, what's the reality of the situation. When I say reality, I'm talking about, all these other celebrations that people have, New Year, Easter, Christmas, all that stuff. Your eyes will be open to the truth of it. That's all rooted in paganism, heathenism, and also the truth of the scriptures that of the prophecies to come, man. You know, famine, pestilence. This place ain't gonna last no much longer. You know, specifically Babylon. That's destined for destruction. So when the Most High opens your eyes, that's the thing. That's dependent on the Most High as well. It's only for few people, Israelites specifically. And really, again, if they be part of the elect, Yahweh Tazar, as we always say, which means Yahweh willing, because it's not of our will, it's of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai's will, Yahweh's will, whether we are those men of whom we will regain, of whom we will gain salvation into those chariots. So 2 Peter 2:2, and many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. So people are just gonna follow their own ways, man. You know, especially with these false prophets. You know, tell them sweet things in their ears. You know, let's get the root word for pernicious. Pernicious ways. People shall follow their pernicious ways. So the root word for pernicious is this, apolia, if I said it correctly.
Strong's G 684. Apolia. Apolia.
So apolia is the root word for pernicious, which means destroying, utter destruction, a perishing, ruin, destruction. In the strong definitions, it says damnable, a damnable nation. It says from a presumed derivative of ruin or loss, the physical, spiritual, eternal, damnable, destruction, die, perdition, perish, pernicious ways, waste. So it just means destruction. That's what it means. So it says when it says pernicious ways, ways of which lead to destruction, you can see it as that. So, and many. So 2 Peter 2:2, and many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. So of course they're going to go to things of which will lead to their destruction, because it comforts them. And the truth, obviously, when they hear of it, you know, that provides discomfort, because that, oh yeah, now you got to separate yourself. So, you know, these things are rooted in paganism, man. That's really the point right there, okay. You know, let's see if there's a bit more, and then I'm gonna leave it at that, man. You know, it even says 144 right there, man. You know, 1044. You know, that's encouragement in the spirit. But yeah, let's when I say encouragement in the spirit, really encouragement to really accept this truth that this is paganism, man. You know, Christmas is paganism. That's the point. So let's see what's up here.
Number 2, Christmas trees. Christmas trees are the universal symbol of Christmas. Nothing says Christmas like a decorated pine tree with gifts under it. But despite this, historians are not really sure where the Christmas tree came from. Some believe they date back to paganism, but we have no references to such a tradition in any pagan source. Nothing like a Christmas tree is found in any sources on Yule, Saturnalia, or any pagan winter festival. In fact, the first depiction of a Christmas tree comes from 1576 in Alsace, France, where there was a sculpture of one on a private home. The first mention of Christmas trees is in an Alsace ordinance of 1561, which limits the amount and height of Christmas trees. Many cities claim to be the birthplace of the first Christmas tree, but no one can know for sure. Sebastian Brand in 1494 mentioned bringing pine branches into one's home for New Year's, but doesn't say anything about Christmas. Some attribute the first Christmas tree to Martin Luther. Others attribute it to a legend about St. Boniface. The tale says that pagans were about to attempt a human sacrifice under a sacred oak tree. Boniface cut it down, and when he wasn't killed by lightning, he pointed to the fir tree as a symbol of Christ. Tanya Gulovich highlights a likely origin of the Christmas tree.
It's all just fables, man. We know it's rooted in paganism anyways. It's rooted in it comes from the heathen, you know, which are obviously the people of the other nations who are not Israelites, who are not of Israel. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians are Israelites, speckled bird as well. But the other nations, you know, they're heathens. But yeah, these are just fables, man. We know it's rooted because also it mentions Jeremiah 10:2, man, about them trying to raise up a tree and then decorating it with, you know, silver and all these ornaments, man. You know, that's Jeremiah 10 and 2, which we brought out in the previous video. But anyways, man, I'm gonna leave it off there. Yaratazar, the old video and this video, I'll link this video and the article in both videos, in the part 1 and the part 2. So I'm gonna end off there. Kim Shalom, Yabashim Yashabrakatha, and Yaratazar. They also edified and you built up. And now, you know some history off of the pagan roots of Christmas, man. So yeah, Shalom, which means peace, and Yahweh Shai Brakatham, which means Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, bless you. Brakatham means bless you. So once more, double honors to the great Muslim apostles, and Shalom. Kahalayim La, Yahweh Shai Kudash. Shalom.